Yes, people, welcome back to Chelsea Transfer Watch on Chelsea Perspective. Unfortunately, I'll be off camera for a while, but I'll let's say like in like 20, 25 minutes, I think I'll be all right, and I'll come back. I'll show my face on camera for personal reasons. I'm not going to show my face on camera right now. This evening, we will be talking about Romelu Lukaku developments regarding his proposed move but move back to Inter Milan. And Denzel Dumfries, who we're hearing will be the most likely to come our way. I don't know how that particular deal is going to be structured. And then we'll see if there's any update on Ousmane Dembele. If not, again, I know there's quite a lot to talk about. So let's get into the show. Yes, people, again, welcome back to the Transfer Watch Show on Chelsea Perspective. Again, we'll start as usual. I said there's the culture here on Chelsea Perspective. We'll start by looking at the comments in the comment section already to see what the people have to say. Again, whether they have an update for us, because that's how we roll here on Chelsea Perspective. It's not just about the host. Again, the channel is us, not that of Coachella or Louisa, who's my co-host here tonight. Liam Lane says, good evening, coach, and evening, everyone joining. Good evening to you, Liam Lane. Again, as usual, I want to ask, I hope everything is, things are well on your end. Again, 72 Facts says, hi to you too, brother. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Bro, yep, I understand it happens to me. I think I and O actually close on the keyboard. It happens all the time. But when I make that mistake, I live it. It sounds cool to me. So anyway, don't worry. I hope you're doing well too. Again, like I said during the intro, we'll talk about potential Lukaku's move back to Inter Milan. We'll talk about Denzel Dumfries, who's been rumored to be the guy that will come our way, and then Ousmane Dembele. Luisa, I'm going to start with you. Do you have any updates for us?
Yeah, I just heard we went after a goalkeeper with under 18 is a Welsh international. So I don't know. They said we're close to sealing the deal, but I really don't. I don't know what's going on there. But I think that's going to be for the academy actually.
And that's the second a second under 18 goalkeeper within the span of a week, because we're going to eventually Slonina, how old is he? Is it 19? The Chicago Fire goalkeeper.
Yeah, Slonina is 19, I think it should be.
So if it's 19, that's like two.
No, it's 18. I just checked. It's 18.
He's 18. So yeah, so two teenagers, because he's still I don't know if I'm right to call him a teenager within the span of a week. Again, but the truth is, it just shows that the club are well at work, like I've argued before. I know some people think otherwise, and people are panicking. But overall, just to take you back a bit, are you concerned really, or you just you do believe that the club are well at work?
Yeah, I believe that the club at all, because here's the thing. We usually just complain about us going to get players, like how much Kepa cost us. We usually complain about that, and now we have two possibly plus Nathan Baxter. We have three really young goalkeepers who we could potentially maybe sell one out, loan one out, and keep one within the first team environment, which is a smart signing. And Chelsea fans have been clamoring for smart signings under the Abramovich era ever since. Because if you look at the transfer market right now, Nunez is worth 100 million, and nobody really let me not offend anyone, but Nunez, no one really knew about Nunez 3-4 months ago. Not like so. It feels like the market is only going to go up for these players, and if we do actually kind of get a system where we have like our immediate future secured, maybe the next 5 to 10 years, we won't
Mhm.
need to like start being running around the transfer market looking for replacements for most of our squad.
Well, I think it's a good plan, but you know how in such situation, how you know pessimistic or how impatient the Chelsea fans can be because they're looking to hear about signings that will come straight into the first team, and then because we've been losing quite a lot of players, and I'm hearing that Cesar Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso are both bent on leaving the club. So that complicates the situation, and they're focusing on signing on the 19 goalkeeper under 18, U18. That's what it is. But again, I think I must say this: the fact is I'm not concerned really. I'm not concerned really, and I haven't asked you your thoughts on Petr Cech's comments regarding how he lives on the phone and how it's going to be a busy transfer window for us. Because my argument is that it shows you that really the club are really working on something behind the scenes. Because it's not going to say specifically we looking at player B, player C, or we're looking to bring in a midfielder in, we're looking to bring in two defenders in, then the media will get a chance to ask him, okay, can you tell us specifically what players? And I think that's his own way of coming across to the Chelsea fans, letting them know, look, relax, because I'm sure he's seeing all the all the things that the Chelsea fans are saying in social, as I saying on social media. So I think that's a way of reaching out and say, calm down, everything is fine. But I want to get your thoughts, your opinion on his statement.
Yeah, the statement about Peter Cech, I believe that as fans, if we actually see what's going on within the squad and the club as a whole, if we are seeing these things, I believe that the people who are paid to see these things, they are actually seeing these things and they know what they need to get done. The only thing I feel like is causing some delays right now is like, for instance, the Kounde deal. um, there's talks that Chelsea were aware about the medical condition for which he got an operation for. And right now, it seems like Conde is bent on going to Barcelona. So it feels like so it does feel like it's kind of depending on the players we want. They don't seem to want us back at the moment. But the ones who those are the top billing players. But I feel like we're still going to make some signings, which, like you've said before, they are going to make some signings where the fans wouldn't even know that, okay, we're going after this person. Like the two goalkeepers now, the Slonina and this Eddie Beach, both of them, I had no idea. Maybe others had an idea. I had no idea we were looking at getting so many youth goalkeepers in, because I would have thought, okay, we would get one maybe in the 24-25 age range to compete with Mendy, because I feel like with this influx of goalkeeper, we might actually see. I was thinking that Kepa would be going, but I feel like under 18 and under 19 are actually not coming yet to be Kepa's replacement as second choice. So I feel like that's still up in the air, depending on the squad players that are the offer we do get for the players who are in. Like if Kepa is going to go, if Alonso is going to go, if Azpilicueta is going to go, if Ruben Loftus-Cheek is going to go. Depends on the exit. I feel like that's what our entry is dependent on right now. It depends on the players we are actually going to lose at the end of the day. And those players are not even certain. I don't even think the club knows they are certain, because someone like Kepa would want to take a good offer, because there are offers coming in, but they are not like at this stage he really wants to be getting to. Alonso, same as Alonso and Azpilicueta, both of them are looking at Barca, and Barca might decide they don't want both of them. They might want to go for only one, since they're already getting Christensen and for free. Azpilicueta will have to be for I think both Aspilicueta and Alonso will have to go for a fee. So that feels like everything is just up there on who we are going into the next season with, and who we should bring in to complement what we already have, so we don't have to go through some sort of like a building process where we end up being mid-table throughout the whole period.
Yeah, again, I do agree with you. Let me quickly catch up with the chat, and I'll come back to the panel and ask Helgi the starting question. Helgi, welcome to the panel. How are you doing today, brother?
Yeah, great to be back, and it's so nice to be here again. It was, let's say, a sort of hiatus for me to be away for this long time, but now I'll be regularly here, and it's a massive pleasure as always.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the chat again to read what people have there, because this is all the shows on Chelsea Perspective are all interactive shows. We carry along those in the chat. Again, I know what the panelists, but we do carry them along. Here Chidi Tony says it's better for us to lower our expectations. Chelsea will not make any serious signings this season. The new owners are not ready to spend on this club. They have no serious plans. Liverpool, like Liverpool and City, I think that's not the truth. That's not the truth. They promised you two marquee signings, and I've also told Thomas Tuchel, you are in control of the transfer dealings, which means in terms of pointing to the players he wants, and the club will try to get it for him, which means they are backing him. So this comment, I must say, sorry, Chidi, that's not true at all. Kepa to Newcastle and signed a Slonina. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard about anything about any club being interested in signing Kepa or Balaga. Those are just what we heard before. But you could say there's nothing serious about that. And here, and sorry, I'm with my boy here. I'm sure you guys can hear his voice. Yes, getting him from Southampton, 18 years old, AD Beach. His name is something I find difficult to pronounce, so it doesn't sound like I'm saying something else. He must be good since we're going for him. And Southampton has always had a good academy. Newcastle need players. Barkley, Ruben, Kepa. I don't think Ruben Loftus-Cheek will be going anywhere. Yes, people want him to leave. And actually, I'm not sure. Bobby said something like in the morning that he played up to 40 games. I'm not sure how accurate that is. I don't have the statistic to back up my argument, but we'll see. And Tribune says, oh, here we go, the evening transfer. I don't think it's not going to be marathon this time because I have something to take care of. It says, evening, Lamb. Again, evening to you too, True Blue. And Thomas Assam says, for me, I have given up already on Chelsea signing. It doesn't look like we're bringing us off. Again, calm down, people. Calm down. I don't know how else to say this. I think it's only natural to, to not be patient in certain situations like this. But I believe me, we'll be all right. Thomas Adam, who has PSG, Inter, AC, Bayern, Juve, etc. signed. It's just like True Blue said in the morning, in the whole of Europe, there's been only around 7, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Transfers completed, not that many transfers completed. And please, while you're joining, please do take a second to like the video, because the more you like the video, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered, and the more people will be reached. The more people we have here, the more the fun the show will be. So Helgi, coming to you quickly, I want to get your thoughts on what Petr Cech says, what it means to you, or even after that, you're still concerned. And you guys can keep talking. Let me see quickly if I'll be ready, to come on to show my camera. Go ahead, Helgi.
Well, in general, not just basing on what Petr Cech says, because we expect to hear, let's say, promising things from him, because he's more or less the most appreciated board member from the fans in general, due to his legendary status as a player. But it's encouraging to hear those words, and I hope that what he said turns into reality as soon as possible and as efficiently as possible. And in general, about the situation and about the impatience of the fellow fans, fellow Blues that I have come across since the beginning of the month, it's something that at least as it stands, it's premature because of the fact that you need time to materialize things, and what we can easily see is that there is a sort of progress in the background with the right names being with the right names being identified for different positions, and the fact that this sort of anger or early disappointment from some of the fans has happened so far. I think it has come because of a sort of ambition that Tottenham in particular has tried to show. But the least thing I would want at this point is us being reactive rather than proactive, which could be a problem in the long term when you try to just react basing on the number of signings that the opposition make, because ultimately what counts is the quality of the signings you have made. And different precedents from the past in football show very clearly that numbers mean nothing, and the timing of the signings mean nothing, especially at this point because we are in mid-June. So we have to be a bit patient, but at the same time we have to go with the idea that this new ownership will make a sort of change in direction in terms of us prioritizing quality over quantity, and basically letting us move away from the profile of Lukaku signings, which was clearly a reactive signing. I was myself pretty much in favor of the move at the time, and now I have to admit that I was wrong, but for a complex of reasons. So I'm glad with, and specifically I want to mention Nizar Kinsella's latest update from today, which was about Inter and us going so deep in negotiations now for Lukaku.
Yeah, we will get to that.
No, but in general, I wanted to point out that he said that we may move to a sort of classification of the players we want for the attack that are more of inverted forwards, or let's say wide players who score goals rather than number 9s. And I have said this for a very long time, that we need attacking players who score rather than a point of reference up top in this system, which requires a lot of intensity and pressing of the ball. So I mean, in general, I want to say that there is time to get things right and efficiently. So at the moment, I will keep my patience and hope that the best will happen, because as it stands, I'm seeing, maybe there aren't the most concrete of reports, but still it seems that there is movement in the background, and I hope that things will materialize soon.
As always,
go ahead.
Yeah, as always, True Blue is done with the matter of Chelsea transfer window. So what I really want to ask now is, are you of the opinion? So what Chidi is saying right now about Chelsea not being serious with the signings, do you trust the new owners to do what's right, or are you thinking that we might be truly well done for this summer because all the exciting prospects are gone?
Are you asking me or are you asking Helge?
No, I'm asking Helge.
Sorry, could you repeat it one more time, please? Because
sorry. I said Chidi talked about us not being serious because the new owners are not ready to spend money. Are you fully trust the thought process, or do you think that this summer will be more dicey than the normal Roman era?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I have written a sort of thread even so long before Boli got the ownership, and at the time I pointed out that it's important not to get fixated with the concept of just spending money for the sake of it. So if spending money meant immediate success in football, we would see PSG winning the Champions League at least more than once now, but they more or less get out in the round of 16. So spending money is a sort of superficial concept in football market nowadays, if you ask me. If it doesn't have the right organizative and organizational and executive aspect in the background that somewhat complements this financial backing. And one of my biggest criticism of the recent windows under Roman has been exactly the fact that we have been financially stable, but we have lacked a sort of clarity in terms of the way the money had been spent. So spending money, it's just a sort of vanity concept when it comes to spending in order to strengthen the team, because you can see that the most successful of clubs have a clear plan behind the way they spend the money. And my point is exactly of a coordination between financial capability and great execution. And I don't know how well will this happen this summer, because we don't have a director of football in place, and this is a must to identify the right profiles and somewhat let the manager focus solely on the pitch matters. But it's a good start to see that Boli has reportedly given license to Tuchel to choose the players he wants, because even though in principle it may sound as a bit risky, knowing that the manager doesn't have much time to scout the players abroad or in the other clubs, it's still much better than leaving it to people in the hierarchy to choose the profiles, which more or less they have failed in this regard, starting from the chief scout and many people involved in the process. So in general, my point was this, that the money spending in Roman's era and now under Top Boli is not the principal or the most crucial topic if you don't, let's say, add the importance of knowing where the money will go alongside it. So in Daniel Finkelstein's words, he said that Chelsea will have very good financial backing under the new ownership, but we will spend wisely. And spending wisely is what, for me, counts most, not in the sense of penny pinching, but in the sense of knowing very well where the money will go and making sure through data analysis and other methodological approaches that the targets and the profiles that will come in will be good enough and fit enough to be deployed in this kind of system that Tuchel plays, and not just go for the vanity or for the player that will necessarily fill the headlines and front pages and the back pages of the papers the next day, but for the players that have that can easily adapt in the environment that Thomas Tuchel has already laid and wants to develop over time. So this is my point.
You make a very, very good point here, and that brings to mind this question. Here's it. The whole thing that's been going on with Tuchel and strikers from his time at Mainz, his time at PSG, where he had Mauro Icardi, he had Edson Cavani. He used them. But he did use them as often as he should use them. Helgi, please, can you take care of that? They use them as often as he should be using them, which clearly, shows he doesn't like to play with a traditional number 9 or what you call an out-and-out striker. Yet, people are still calling that if Lukaku leaves, we should go for we should go for Robert Lewandowski. Lewandowski is no different. And I think his case could actually be worse because he's 34. Or how old is he? So he's not. We're complaining about Lukaku not being able to press. It gets worse if we get a striker who's at the age of Robert Lewandowski, who cannot press, and he might not be able to deal with the physicality of the Premier League. So it just seems as if people are not paying attention to what's going on. It looks like they don't understand the man. But that's, by the way, I'm going to quickly catch up with the chat, and I'll come back to the panel in a bit because this is an interactive show. Here, Thomas Liverpool bought Nunes, will sell Mane, City 2 in, 2 out. So what, is there a rule we have to sign on the same day as them? Or is there a rule that we must sign players because they're signing? Again, we should learn to be patient. And I don't know how many times on this show that we've explained, it doesn't look like our fans are paying attention. We've not been paying attention. We've been under restrictions that didn't allow us to put pen to paper with any club or player. We can talk to them, but we're not allowed to complete the process. So I don't know how long we're going to explain that. So thank you very much for saying that kindly. Julius Amos said, blessed evening. At Coachella, blessed evening to you too, brother. How are you doing? And all the panelists for the insightful transfer discussion. Thank you very much for putting that so kindly. That makes us happy. Gatonga Rumor won't discuss team. Again, Thomas, as I'm saying, True Blue, we have already lost our 2 key men and needed to replace them. And then let us think of strengthening. We're working on that. And again, I don't know where all this panic is coming from. Calm down. True Blue, let's see what happens. Exactly, just keep it there and that will be fine. Latest rumors say Barcelona in advanced talks with Kounde. I think we heard that yesterday during the evening show yesterday. We thought it was a joke. It turns out it was from Mundo. And again, we're seeing it from sources that cover Chelsea news and Chelsea transfer news. So again, it's serious, actually. And here's Mikhail saying, Tuchel doesn't know what to do with a traditional number 9. So Haaland and Nunes are useful for Chelsea anyway. Again, I hope you understand the point there, Louisa. So I want to know, again, let me just try and catch up. Says Chelsea fan base getting desperate. It is this same desperation that led to Lukaku purchase last season. Exactly. Which I actually argued that had he been Pep would have been fine being patient and playing with the squad he has. And it wasn't like we didn't create chances the season before we signed Lukaku. We created quite a lot of chances. And the issue was just we were not putting away chances. And that also leads to the question, who thought about it and said, okay, getting a point man will solve the problem? Not knowing that would lead for us, creating lesser chances because the focus will not be on creating chances for a single individual. So that, kills fluidity and all that. But that's, by the way, it says, Mikhail, good point. Again, it says, that said, let's not, conflict lack of transfer business with wisdom or success either. He just jumped on the wagon now straight up after all the delicious commentary from him. Where a broadcast, that guy is good. Again, it says, you might call it a desperation, but in a market where other teams do fast business, you end up with a very few options. That's where you're speaking the truth now, but I think we'll still be fine. Maybe we're talking to players that are not that popular, but also good. The most important thing for us to be looking at when we're looking at players that we want to bring into the club is how they fit, whether they work with the way the manager likes to approach the game. It's as simple as that. I said, again, Thomas, do we have to sign players today to keep you happy? We have a centre backs at the club. We have a ban until 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. We had a ban until 2 weeks ago. You're 100% right, Coach, on the striker situation. Yep, we must start paying attention and not go make another mistake. Big up, Kushila. Big up to you too, Mikhail. I hope things are well on your end. Big up, Mikhail. So coming back to the panel before we even talk about Lukaku, your thoughts, Louisa, the fact that Chelsea fans are calling for the club to sign Robert Lewandowski, notwithstanding he's an out-and-out striker, he's no different from Romelu Lukaku. It's just that he's a better striker overall. Are they not paying attention to how Olivier Giroud left, who's also a more complete striker than Romelu Lukaku, how Tammy Abraham left us, and now Romelu Lukaku. So I want to get your thoughts, Louisa.
Yeah, from the situation with Giroud and Tammy Abraham, we could actually see how Thomas was not able to use both of them, even though we were still able to.
The truth is, he could if he wanted to, but that's just he prefers not to.
He preferred not to, and we could see that Giroud was still coming in at halftime in games, but he wasn't really like. We had both Giroud and Tammy Abraham, and most times both of them were either on the bench. Sometimes Tammy Abraham wasn't even making the squads list. So it's kind of funny when you think about it, because why were we even excited about Lukaku in the first place? Because thinking about it now, Thomas never prefers to. Sometimes maybe it could be in a game where, okay, it feels like that's his last resort, but we had two decent strikers who he didn't really use. It's not like, okay, he was using them and they weren't good, so he decided to go for a better striker. Giroud was a really good striker for us. He did really well, but when Thomas came in, he was barely getting game time. He was coming in as subs most of the time. I think even in the Champions League final, he came in as a sub. That's not his preferred. So us going for for Lewandowski, that's like another completely because what's the most preferable option for us would be.
I was going to say it would most definitely compound the issue. It would get worse actually, because he's older and probably cannot press at all.
That's another Lewandowski is going to just be another problem that would end up looking for how to solve it by next summer or even as soon as January. So Lewandowski is not the solution to our problem. So what I feel like he's going, which Haaland is an out-and-out striker, just that because he's able to go around, but that's Bundesliga, so I'm not really going to rate his work rate in Bundesliga compared to Premier League. He might not need to do a lot of the things he did in Bundesliga, since he's coming into a really good City side. Same with Nunez, who is going to be getting service from Trent. So
in the case
we really don't need those two people. So I feel like us thinking and Liverpool side.
I think.
So I get the person who says. Yeah, I get the person who says when you leave your signings too late, you get like bottom barrel for what's in the transfer window. But at the same time, I feel like if we are looking at these things, definitely the club should be looking at these things. They want to win. Winning, it's a business after all. They just winning is profitable to them.
Winning is good. Another thing winning is good for business.
Winning is good for business, and but Americans have commercialized sports, and winning is one of the only ways you can actually keep a profitable sports franchise in Europe, because it's not as commercialized as America, where you sell tickets for shows and the rest along with it. So Todd Bowley needs Chelsea to remain the winning side he bought. He bought a winning team. He needs it to remain a winning team. So I believe he's going to do everything possible, bring us the money. What I really want to know is, do you guys think we need to overhaul our scouting department? Because I feel like someone's dropping the ball in that aspect when it comes to our scouting department.
Again, there's no way to tell. I'm not really good. I don't know if I'm ready to go into that conversation right now. There's no way to tell, really. It's as simple as that. Again, it remains to be seen what Todd Bowley does with the scouting team, but we will eventually find out. Again, for the current situation, I'm not going to blame them. There are a few factors that you could say now may have derailed the club's plans. The sanctions, the sole conundrum that took longer than we all thought it would. All those things. So again, I wouldn't even. I honestly, I wouldn't talk about that. Overhauling the scouting department at this point. A lot of stuff you could argue probably during the Roman era. That's a chance. They didn't have much to say. And most signings, especially high-profile signings, which you could argue the club went for them because they were the hottest properties in Europe then, because the big names from a business perspective, merchandise sales and all that. But that's, by the way, Helgi, I want to quickly catch up with the chat and I'll come back to you with what's your thought in the fact of the way Thomas Tuchel, his reluctance, to adapt to using, in short, let me just say mixing things up and using defined strikers or traditional strikers. I want to get your thoughts on where that leaves Amanda Broya, because you could argue the only difference is just that he's young, so there's a chance he adapts. And you could argue, technically, he's probably better than Lukaku, but I'll come back to that. Here it says, I just woke up. Oh, okay, sorry to see that. Go wash your face. I think Lukaku is the next Bakayoko. Will forever be out on loan trying to justify pay back the original spend. Again, I don't even know how this is going to happen, because as I've spoken, as I've said during the start of the show, the talks are that they're going to give us what's his name, Denzel Dumfries. My question is, how are you going to structure that there? It just doesn't make sense. But before I continue reading what we have in the chat, we have 42 people watching and we have just 21 likes. We can do better than that. And again, as I've always said, you don't even have to donate. I prefer you liking the video, because the more you like the video, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered and the more people would be able to reach. And more people joins us here, the more the fun the show will be. So please keep liking the video and keep subscribing to the channel if you haven't. It's gone up 24, so thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be ungrateful not to say thank you for the likes we have already. Yes, I again, that may well happen because I don't see Inter Milan signing a contract with an obligation to buy. It wouldn't make business sense to them. I think they'd go for with an option to buy. So at the end of the season, they may well say, we don't want him. Come and take him. So again, Robert Lewa is a precision striker. He was my favorite. Yep. The question remains, he's one of the best the whole world. One of the greatest we've ever seen. But the question remains now, okay, will he work at Chelsea? You're not sure. Will Thomas Tuchel even, tweak the way we operate to accommodate him? He's proven to be very stubborn in terms of changing the system to accommodate a single problem. So if that single player, if that happens, you'd question, okay, what happened with Lukaku? He didn't just like him or something like that. There are theories actually out there that suggest he started dropping him the moment he sensed the ownership of the club would change. But that's, by the way, Giroud was so perfect for Chelsea, so bad he hardly got a game time under Thomas Tuchel. Yep, I just wasn't sure what happened. Gitanga, who's doing a deal quickly? Okay, Timo is not clinical, reliable, and not enough, and not good enough, challenging to. Again, I'm not gonna, join the bandwagon of blaming every player that's come to Chelsea and things haven't really worked out for them. There's a strong argument. Again, I'm not saying that lightly. There is a very, very strong argument that Thomas Tuchel, you could say partly to blame for the players that have underperformed, because in most cases, he's played them out of position. A prime example is the fact that he's played wingers as number 8s, given the way the structure of the formation we play in most cases. So again, you would look back, and if you're being sincere, if you're being objective, you'd really come to terms and say, yeah, it might not have been entirely the fault of the players themselves, because they're humans. Again, we need a Broya. It remains to be seen whether he'd be comfortable coming back home and whether he'd trust Thomas Tuchel, because he's seen everything that's happening. It's mind-boggling that there's no legal recourse for Chelsea in the contract term to take Lukaku. Actually, Lukaku himself was using lawyers. Yeah. So that's really concerning to me, to ask for trying to repeatedly reduce his own evaluation by public wanting away. Yep, it is indeed mind-boggling. That's concerning. So it's like LSC has said on the panel here. I think he argued that the club should actually investigate him. It doesn't really make sense that nothing has been done. True Blue Liverpool, again, I don't want to get into that argument. Lewandowski would be wasted here too. It's obvious, maybe not as useless as current guy, but definitely wouldn't be getting a ball much. That's just, it's as simple as that. Again, here, Phantom says 19th to hit the like. You're at the bottom table, probably going to get relegated, Phantom. So don't be happy that you're the 19th to like. Don't blame scouts who hired the scouts. Blame them. That may well be the case. And there's a chance, actually, the scouts were just yes, yes, ma, and not usually being put to good use, or just scouting youth players. Again, says share and sub. Yeah, thank you very much, John CFC. I appreciate you saying that. And again, we have 30 likes while we have 41 people watching. If you haven't, please take a second to like the video, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. True Blue, Rudy and Chomeni, again, I don't want to get into that argument again. You guys should continue with it. A great analysis front, Louisa. We need a younger striker that is cheaper. Chinedu Dalo, and again, that's a good argument. We need a younger keeper. We don't need to spend too much on keeper. I was thinking, actually, we were building a lineup. We started building the potential 2022-2023 lineup here. We'll continue with it, actually, but we stopped so we get a clear understanding of what the club is doing in the market before we continue. And we're not going to stop building it until the end of the season. Now, says again, thank you for that. Kudos to Louisa here. Yes, she's good. She understands the game very well. Timo scored twice for Germany this week. That shows you something, may well be, on our end, it's our fault, if you want to phrase it that way. Tuchel historically was never so married to a style of play as he is now. Yep. Once upon a time, we did a switch up like Pep does. And again, there's a time he plays like 3 formation in a single match. What has happened, I don't know. Some argues it all comes down to the personnel, the players that are available to him. True Blue, again, I don't want to get that. Okay, Chukwuwanne Dalo. Can I know who is in for what? Can you complete that sentence, please? I'm a bit confused. I'm not sure. Lukaku is using lawyers because he has left his agents. Oh, let's not start the conspiracy. Okay, now it makes sense, but no, not everybody. We all don't know. Big up Kuchila, big up Deals CFC. Nice to see you here, brother. How are you doing? Yes, people. Deals says hit the like button, please do so. And Filippo Kechuku says, please, can I know who is in for the club? Nobody in except we're talking about. We're hearing Luisa said 18-year-old goalkeeper was signing from Southampton for the academy team again. And also, was it the foreign goalkeeper? I think he's older. I think he probably comes in case if Kapari Sabalaga leaves. Now, coming back to the panel, I want to ask you this. Helgi, your thoughts. Thomas Tuchel's approach to the game, or his relationship with traditional strikers. Where do you think? Where does that leave Broya?
First of all, because I saw a comment, I think, from Mikhail before when he said something along the lines that Tuchel doesn't want or doesn't know. I'm not so sure how it was to use a number 9. Now, I think I have some counter arguments to this remark. First counter argument has to do with the fact that how can you say for a Champions League winning manager, even in principle, that he can't use a number 9 when, let's say, he won the Champions League in a way that we more or less swept teams around in the sense of creating chances, having better expected goals rate and everything. So the fact that we didn't win with a higher margin in these games and in other games that we have got the better of the opposition under Thomas has been a lack of clinicality. Argument 2 has to do with the fact that Aubameyang recorded, I think, 40 goals in 46 games under Tuchel.
Are you counting Aubameyang as a traditional number 9?
Yeah, he's more of an out and out. But when you see his teams at Dortmund, he deployed a style consisting of Pulisic and Dembele on the wings, and more or less Aubameyang was the player who would cover the center of the pitch of the attack, let's say, even though he isn't the most traditional number 9, the most orthodox number 9 that we have been used to see. But still, at Dortmund, he played that kind of role that could be considered as one. And on top of that, there is the wider argument that the exclusion, that more or less the exclusion of the traditional number 9, can't be an issue of a club specifically, but it's a sort of cultural shift in football that has been going on for years now. So, when I read Inverting the Pyramids, in the epilogue, you have a sort of speech from Roberto Mancini, who is the current manager of the Italian national team. And at the time, it was 2008. And at the time, he had made a sort of speech in the Converciano, which is the Italian school of managers. And he said that football, the next position that will get extinct from football will be the traditional number 9. So he said this in 2008, and we are 14 years later, and something like this is happening, especially at the teams that deploy a sort of possession-based football or gegenpressing football, which has to do with an application of the principle of universality. So there is no striker who just scores goals, or there is no defender who just defends. So everybody should work in the context of the team, and this doesn't. So ultimately, I think that the perspective of saying that Tuchel is somebody who doesn't know how to coach a false 9 is completely misleading and naive, because even Klopp doesn't use number 9s, the traditional 9. So at Liverpool, Pep won the league without a 9. I know he persisted on Kane, but still it showed that City managed to win the league without having a game postponed amid the COVID period and all of that, and still managed to win the league with a versatile front line. And the point is that this is, so in general, I see it as a lack of need to sign a number 9 in the teams that want to dominate the game, rather than, let's say, pointing at a specific manager for being stubborn for something. It's not that. You need players that have to be involved in the build-up, have to contribute in creating chances, to drop deep, to do more or less that kind of active presence that Benzema has at Real Madrid, that he drops deep down to the center of the pitch and contributes in different ways to the team's attacking moves, rather than being let's say, somebody to push the balls to in the last 20 meters of the pitch. So it's a general concept. And regarding Broja, even if he's my compatriot, but I think that he has to go on loan one more year, because of the fact that he has shown good signs at Southampton, but I doubt that him staying at us this season can be good for either of the parties, so for us and for him involved. I would like us to be, let's say, sharper in terms of finding a club that could really evolve his potential, make him involved in terms of contributing with the play on the ground. So let's say, ideally speaking, a loan to Brighton, for example, would be very good for him, as it's a team that plays narrowly and in tight areas, we could get a possible view of what he can offer, rather than rushing back and out of desperation for the fact that many of our strikers aren't clinical. We are hanging our hopes to Broja, but in the long term, I don't think that it would be the best possible outcome to put much pressure on a young player that is still in a development process and has had only one loan in his career so far. So for me, he needs another quality loan, something maybe even better, more sophisticated than Southampton, and then from 2 seasons later he can come back with more experience under his belt. So that's my point. Yeah.
Did you guys qualify for World Cup?
For who?
Your country.
He has scored, I think.
No. Did your country? I know he's a countryman. That's why I'm asking. Did you?
Goals in his last.
All right. No worry about that. Here's the thing about Broja again. He's young, I agree, but I think he'd be better off if his future lies with or at Chelsea. I think he'd be better off coming back, and if the manager is seen enough, say, okay, I want you to stay, let him be patient and stay. He'd be better off training with the team, get acquainted with how the manager wants to play. And even I could say there are games you look back and say, if he was on the pitch, he'd do better than what the guys we have done right now. He's still young. I'm thinking the problem is, where I'm concerned is this: if he goes out on loan, he will continue playing with teams where they continue playing as an out and out, as a traditional striker, and then it'd be very difficult. And again, another point is this: when you go out on loan, you're coming back walking straight into the team. It's never that simple. You'll be exceptional on loan. Even at that, when you come back, the manager will still look at you during preseason to decide whether, okay, you'd be part of the team. So I'd be, if you ask me, if it were up to me, I'd say let him stay with the team, be patient, get well acquainted with how the manager approaches the game. I think he'd get a better chance, of becoming part of the first team.
I totally get the point you're making, but the thing is that, is it better for him to go on loan, play regularly, specifically at a team that plays more or less a similar style to ours, or staying at the team that we currently have, playing some sporadic games in the Carabao Cup, and let's say not having the amount of minutes and a player of his age needs to have? And I'm from the experience of the other players that have been integrated to the first team, none of them has had, let's say, a single loan under his belt. You had Mason Mount being at Vitesse and Derby under Frank, and then he got integrated. You have Chalobah, who went on loan to France when he got the experience of another country, seeing the game from another perspective, and also at Huddersfield. You had Tammy at Bristol City and then at Aston Villa, who ultimately helped them get promotion to the Premier League. So would one loan for Broja be enough, especially at a team that have been massively underwhelming this season, which is Southampton? And when he comes, I get your point that he can get the experience in the training ground, academically wise, from working under Thomas. But I don't think that this would be the best possible option in the long term, because I want him to be a player for the present and the future. And if we send him 1 year on loan and just decide to keep him just for the sake of the fact that the others guys in the attack aren't clinical enough, so let's hope that Broja will provide a solution to this problem, I don't think that it will be good for both parties, because it would put too much pressure on a player that is only 20. So that's why I think that another loan.
Here's the thing: staying doesn't mean he starts every game. We have too many games to play. But again, I've always talked about him. I've always talked about Billy Gilmore also. That one really, his case really did break my heart. And I'll be honest with you, I used the example of Phil Foden. He was patient. He didn't push to leave. And Pep, he stayed with Pep. He always stayed. He learned how the manager likes to approach the game, and he became good at it. And he even started in most cases. He started games even, while some of the biggest names out of the club stayed on the bench. But that's by the way. I'll catch up with the chat, and I'll come back to the panel to see if Louisa has anything to add to what we've talked about. And Chichi Eze here says, "Broski, what's up?" Nah, I'm fine. No, thank you very much for asking, and I hope you're well too. Thank you very much. It's good to hear from you. Phantom, why the Lukaku signing made no sense. That's just the truth. It just doesn't make sense. Which means, again, I said this even in the morning today, and I said it a billion times. We don't just come out and say, Lukaku was a romance signing. No, I don't agree. That alone doesn't, it's not, that alone isn't an excuse for us to have signed them in the first place. Thomas Tuchel had to okay it, or for the club to sign a check. The scout also, I'm sure that whoever that went for the player must have gone to the scout and say, look, we're trying to get this player, but I want to get your thoughts. And what did they say? Did they look at it and say, okay, we'll walk? It just doesn't make sense. And I do sincerely hate talking about it. Tuchel and Lampard are both cold to players who don't fit their way. Pep and club will adapt to whom they have. Here's the thing about Pep. I think he does the same too. Klopp did it too. When Pep came to Man City, he cleared the team, but he just did it strategically. That if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't know that he cleared the team. He overhauled the team. I think that's a better phrase for it. They're all the same. All managers. But again, it depends how in terms of how they treat the player. I think it's where your comment makes sense. I get the argument. It says, okay, at Phantom Topics, who are, best false nine options available in world football today? Some stats, please. Again, I'll come back. Let me highlight that comment and come back to it in a bit because it makes sense for us. It makes sense for us to talk about it. Again, I've read that one. And Chichi says, Phantom Topics, I don't think TT is cold. I just think he felt disrespected after the interview. That may well be the case, but he still handled it so well. When you interview him about the matter, again, you there's no way you'd sense it that he's happy about it. Again, he found whoever is speaking again. This is TC referring to Helgi when he was talking about Broya. I think she agrees with Helgi that Broya isn't ready to be part of the first team. Okay, you're right on this, says Wei Julius. Okay, thank you very much. Mikhail says Giroud, Tammy, and Lukaku. Those are all the proof I need, about Tuchel being clueless about maximizing traditional number 9. Again, the case may well not be that he doesn't know how to maximize them, but simply because it's just his preferred, to approach the game with, as differently. That may well be the case. Says, let me see. I think Gabriel Jesus can play that role on the TT. I think he can, but how serious are we? I'm hearing that he'd already signed it for Arsenal, but that may well be just nonsense. Chichi, get this to thinking. Don't listen to Romano or Sky. He did not disrespect Tuchel, Chelsea, or the system. I have read the English transcript and had the video translated by an Italian. I think, again, what I've always said about that interview is this. I think things he said are, open for interpretation, or how do I phrase it? Again, it depends on who you ask. People see it differently. But I'm not going to go into that today. I say Mane could be a Maki's addition. Now that he's available, I think he's going to Bayern Munich, and I don't think he'd agree to come to Chelsea Football Club. And he'd like to end his relationship with, he wouldn't want to, so to speak, ruin his relationship with Liverpool fan base and all that. Chichi says, he says the manager changed the module or something. along that line, plus simply carrying out the interview without the knowledge of the club staff or Chelsea seem wrong. Again, that on its own is wrong. He shouldn't have done that without the knowledge of the club in the first place. I say, Kochi, do you think he'd wanted to stay and not get playing time? Again, that was why I was asking Helgi whether his country made it to the World Cup, to know whether he'd be concerned about him being called up for the World Cup. But I'm not sure whether they qualified or not. But I'll find out. I don't think he'd be happy to. Even without the World Cup, I don't think he'd be happy to sit on the bench and not get the.
You asked me if the country has been qualified for the World Cup.
Yes.
No.
Okay. So that's by the way. So even without going to the World Cup, here's the thing. I think there are no shortage of clubs looking to sign him. Southampton wants to keep him. We're hearing that Napoli wants him too. We saw that during the Blue Morning show this morning. There are other clubs, even West Ham, I'm hearing, wants to sign him. So now, he'd be smarter. Again, if I were him, I wouldn't consider sitting on the bench and not get enough game time. Why not go to those clubs where you go, they pay the money, and then you be a starter there? So I'd have to be objective in answering your question. Again, do I want him to come back and stay with the team? Exactly, I'd like that to happen, but I wouldn't say that's what's best for him. But from the club's perspective, that's what's best for him. That would be best for him to get to learn how the manager wants to play, and then so sometime in the future get fully integrated into the first team. But I don't see that happening. Big up, Coach says the beautiful game. Nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Chichi said it's a different system to what he was used to. It's up to him as a professional to adapt. He thanked Inter fans for their support, and he hopes to return. Again, yeah, that was why I said he said it, but then again, it's open for you interpret it the way you want. Call 10 people and ask them to read the transcript. You get a different interpretation from each of them. That is just the truth. Not clueless, just not interested in playing. Yeah, exactly. Like I told Mikhail, he's just not interested in approaching the game like that. Again, he is used by 5 or 6 German clubs. In my opinion, the system won't win EPL, but we shall see. Again, I like how you ended that sentence. Not an excuse when they buy a 100 million player, but then that leads us back to the question whether he really wanted to play. You answer that. So coming back to the panel, Luisa, do you have anything to add before we go look at the development on Lukaku's, the possibility of Lukaku going back to Inter Milan?
The situation on Broa is actually quite interesting. On one hand, it would be nice if he stayed at the club, like for the next for this upcoming season, so he could actually like know what Thomas needs from him as a striker, because clearly he should have seen the signs that if he's going to be playing as an out and out striker, he actually has no main role in the.
Mm-hmm. I think we've lost Ashes breaking
finally
up
ready
here.
to integrate
go ahead.
He's finally ready to integrate an out-and-out striker into his game. So I feel like Broha still needs to go on loan. But now, because of Billy Gilmore, before I actually paid no attention to the clubs which we loaned the players to. I just felt like as far as they were getting minutes, they were in safe hands. But it feels like it also depends on the kind of team and like what they are playing for, the competitions in which they are playing for, the opponents they play against now needs to be taken into consideration for the loan. So I feel like Broha could be served with actually going somewhere outside England for at least a year, just to get better experience of European, quote unquote, European football, if he really wants to become a mainstay at Chelsea.
Yeah, again, we'll see what happens. Again, he's good enough to decide. He's good enough. He's a very good player. Clubs are looking at him. So I think the whole thing comes down to what he wants. It's not like he hasn't done well on loan, that he'd be saying, okay, I'll go out alone one more time to show you what I'm capable of. And again, I'm still going to say it again, given how good the kid is, he may well ask to leave the club. And if you force him to stay, we know what happens. You run down this contract and leave on the free. But that would be sad to say. It'd be sad to see that happen. Chelsea should play 4-3-3 like Liverpool or Manchester City with 5 defenders. Chelsea are boring receiving goals. Again, let's see what the manager wants to see come next season. It remains to be seen whether he'd be willing to change his approach to the game. Please talk about Kounde, who is reported to prefer Barca to move to Chelsea. Again, we'll just give me a minute. I'll highlight this, and we will talk about that in a bit. Yesterday, when DJ shared a tweet with me, I thought maybe it was, some troll or some fake account, and then we learned immediately from Ty or somebody in the chat that it was from the Deportivo Mundo, which is a serious outlet actually, and we're seeing even in front of newspaper pages in Spain and some other Chelsea, some outlets that cover Chelsea events or news or something like that. Again, I want to look at, we have 38 likes, so we have 61 people watching. If you haven't, please, as you're coming in, please keep liking the video. Let's shoot for at least 150 likes by the end of the show. If you haven't, it doesn't cost anything, just like the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so to help the channel grow. We've reached 2,901 subscribers, so we need 100 more subscribers to get to 3,000 subscribers. And I know it will happen in a few days. If you haven't, please again like the video. You guys are absolute legend, and thank you for participating in the show. Says, I agree on the system doomed in EPL, but only because a CFC don't have a depth in key areas. So we must sort that out. We've talked about that a zillion times on Chelsea perspective, the importance of having at least 2 good players who are capable, of starting, each of which will be capable of starting at the respective positions in question. So when one gets injured, the person that comes in will be good enough to do, to get the job done for the club, and not when the starting player gets injured, everything goes down south. Again, that shouldn't be happening, as we're seeing this season. Yeah, a lesson, big lesson, and I hope the Chelsea fans overall as a whole stop using the language backup all the time. Get the backup player, get, what you could call an interim solution that usually falters or gets us into trouble. I have to head off now, Coach. Talk tomorrow. Good night. Yes, Liam, see you in the morning. See you during again, nice to see you, and please take care of yourself. See you tomorrow. Says, Coachella, no interpretation. He was self-critical. If anything, he said what I told in a post. Sorry if you prefer what Declan likes to say. Can you please be respectful? That's an insult to me. I make my own decisions, and that's how I've always said it before. There's a saying in the movie industry that says, give 10 directors 10 scripts. No matter how clear the language you use in that script, you get 10 different interpretations of that single script. So it doesn't matter. There are a lot of people that still read the transcript and still come out and say, I think he doesn't like being here. Others will say, please read it. And please, I don't take it lightly. This is an insult to me. And knowing you, I don't know how long you've been part of this channel. I know if I speak to you like this, you take offense. That's not okay, please. Okay? Says Night Liam, I see you later. Always like your videos. You do a great job. Thank you very much, Scott H. I sincerely do appreciate that. That makes me happy. Says Mikael, then switch to 4 and use players correctly. And you yourself, you've argued you don't see him doing that. I hope he switches things up come next season. I hope we help, bring players that help us. De Ligt is a perfect example who can play in a back 4, in a back 3, and he does quite well wherever you deploy him in the defensive area. I've seen him on the left, seen him on the right, seen him as one of the 2 center backs whenever Juventus play 4 at the back system. Again, we have 47 people watching. If you haven't, please keep liking the video. Again, thank you for 41 likes. but we can do better than that. The more you like the video, the more people will be able to reach, and the more people we'll have here, the more fun the show will be. Now, I'm going to go back to the panel. Let's look at what we're looking at here, which says Inter Milan have made an opening bid for Romelu Lukaku on loan, offering 5 million. Chelsea was initially demanding 20 million. Again, the reports out there are conflicting. Some say Chelsea have agreed for 10 million for the loan. Now we're hearing that they've made an offer of 5 million. Chelsea have rejected the proposal, and Inter are waiting for a price tag. The forward has told Todd Boehly and Thomas Tuchel he only wants a move to Inter Milan. Just sticking strictly to what we're looking at on the screen here, Louisa, what do you make of that?
Yeah, you see, the thing here, right, is that if we were going in the Roman era when Mariana had like almost complete say on what kind of business could be done, I see Lukaku wasting away his 30 till he's 30 at Chelsea, except someone comes in with an actual financially sound proposal. At the same time, Todd is a new owner. He wants the fans, because now
He wants a fresh start.
He wants a fresh start, and he's seeing that Lukaku is causing like a rancor over the team right now. I feel like Todd might want to just cut the loss on this one, because what we've been hearing since is that Todd is open to a financially sound deal. This does not sound like it is financially sound. It feels like we're going to end up like making a loss even after. Let's consider the money. Let's consider that, okay, is a used product. We've used him for 1 year and we still have time left on his contract. Even if we say, okay, from the 98.5 million we spent, hypothetically spent, because we've not paid it off completely. Even if we say we are going to make like around 50 million from him, I feel like at the end of the day, that's a good deal for us to cut and run. But Inter Milan is going to try and play smart here because they need their cash. They need to make sure that they are getting the best end of the deal, because they know we are desperate. They want to make sure that, okay, the deal works better for them. They want Lukaku back at this point, because
yeah, go ahead.
You can't make a whole deal about, because they might as well just said, okay, we don't want Lukaku. Keep Lukaku, keep paying us our 98.5 million. Let's cash out on him. They do want him, but they want him in a way that they could screw Chelsea over financially. That's the only thing that is going to be causing an issue right now. How best can they get it done? And normally Marina wouldn't get any deal that would screw us financially, but I feel like this is going to be dependent on Todd. Does Todd want to create like a goodwill with the fans and say, okay, we did make this deal, we did cut it at a loss, but I hear you guys, you want him out of the team, let's get him out of the team. It's really dependent right now on what Todd is willing to take. Is he willing to take a loss on it for the appearance to the fans, or is he going to make sure that Marina holds out for a good deal?
Marina is there, and chances are, you know, I think you sound like you know her very well. Chances are she will hold out for a good deal. You understand? That's what she does. And again, this is horrible. Actually, let's look at it again. For 5 million, we heard first of all that we were asking for 20 million for the loan deal, and they're saying 5 million. Plus, we'll be paying his salary too, his wages too, which means we'll be paying him to be scoring for Inter Milan, and it will break our heart because they still have Lautaro Martinez, who's one of his chief creators when he did break all sorts of records at Inter Milan. So again, this is really annoying. I must tell you the truth. And look at what they're offering, 5 million. But I don't blame them. Really, I wouldn't say it's just they're really planning to take us for a ride. I think they have a situation like we've asked, we've talked about it a few days ago, and I think I talked about it today, this morning also. They have to balance the book or they get into trouble. You get that point. So coming back to the to panel, I'm gonna come to DJ's now to talk about this. But let me catch up. We have just a few people in the chat, so it's easy to catch up quickly with what they have to say there. And big up to you too, Steve Chelsea. Nice to see you around, brother. I do hope you're doing well. Here, Ayuba Tahir says, it is my first time joining you. You are doing it good by relating with almost the whole chat on your screen. I do my best, but usually not easy when we have hundreds of people. The chats flying in. It's never easy. That's why we're looking for a studio engineer. But thank you very much for that. I sincerely do appreciate that. And with that, as you're coming in, please keep liking the video and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes, you don't even have to donate. I prefer the likes. The more you like the video, the happier the panelists will be, because we'll be able to reach more people to come and enjoy the show for us, with us, so to speak. Steve Chelsea says, smash that like button. Yes, people, please do that to help us reach more people. Get it to 50 likes. Come on, people. Our new players will miss a preseason at this rate. I said it before, Mikhail, he's already jumped on the bandwagon of those who are impatient, but that's by the way. Coming to you, DJ, welcome to the panel, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, good evening, guys. Good evening. Sorry, I was a bit late coming on to your show, but I've got to admit I have missed quite a lot. I was working overtime, but yeah.
Bills
I'm all good, bro. I'm all
pay
good.
themselves. Bills don't pay
Yeah, I
themselves,
know.
brother. So I don't complain. I don't blame you. Yeah. So looking at this comment on the screen, I want to get your thoughts, DJ.
Sure.
I wouldn't use the term. I know probably Louisa isn't happy by saying this, trying to screw us over. I wouldn't use the term screw over, because I think that's a little too harsh on them, because they need money. But I want to get your thoughts on what you see on the screen here. The fact that they're giving us 5 million to loan him back, and I'm waiting for your thoughts.
Do you know, I can understand what Louise is saying, because I think that's ridiculous. That is. I mean, 5 million to loan him back. I mean, come on. The whole. I get the whole situation. You know, his love fest for Inter Milan and their love fest for him, and whatever it might be. But I mean, that is a bit of a. I mean, that is a bit of a 5 million. I mean, that's just a nothing, isn't it? Really. I mean, if you think about some of the loans that are done out here, we're talking about, for example, what we did for. I know it was only for one season, but if you think about what we did with Sal Nigas for one season, and what we got out of that, and what out of that one, and then you're looking at this whole Lukaku situation, and you're thinking, my God, it's hardly nothing, isn't it? Nah, look. Whatever the situation is I think what it is coming down is, we need to get an unhappy player off the books. Obviously, it's not good for the players' morale when you've got a player like that around. And I think Chelsea are trying to do everything they possibly can to get him off the books. Now, obviously, we know we're not going to be able to sell him, because I don't think anyone's in a position to anyone's out there to put. Well, they have got the money, but I don't think no club out there is going to put that money down to buy Lukaku from us to what we're asking for. So I can see why this whole situation, but what this whole Lukaku situation seems to be doing at the moment, and it seems to be affecting our other transfer business that we're doing. I'm still confident we're going to get.
Can you tell me how that's the case?
Because it looks like this.
Go ahead.
It looks like we're trying to get this whole Lukaku situation sorted out before we're trying to do anything of our own. Any moves we're trying to make of our own. Now I know the whole situation with Dembele. People are talking about the 30th of June, and I'm the one who mentioned that yesterday as well. But then I know Ty brought up a good comment yesterday that it's not all to do with that, because even True Blue in the comments said something about the same thing with Rudiger and his situation as well, and that we're still kind of like until he obviously becomes officially a Real Madrid player on the 1st of July. I don't know, for some reason or other, people seem to think we're still paying some of his wages, or I don't understand where that is all coming from. But maybe I'm reading things incorrectly, or maybe I don't know. But maybe someone might be able to tell me on it. I don't know. But this whole thing with Lukaku just seems to be affecting everything else we're trying to do. I just think at the moment it's about getting players off the books at the moment before we're doing any kind of moves in the transfer market. So and obviously he's one of the guys who's on massive wage. I do believe it's 325,000 or 350,000 a week he's on, and that's massive money to remove off the books, especially if you're trying to bring your other players in. This is probably why we're looking at plays that we're looking at, free transfers and things like that, because of this one of the reasons why we're doing that. But yeah, I mean, it is for me. This whole thing does seem a bit strange. 5 million up front. I mean, come on. I mean, what are they taking us for? I mean, idiots. I mean, we're not that. We're Chelsea Football Club. Come on.
Here's one thing I want to ask you before I go to someone else on the panel. Is this? But let me just catch up with this. Mikhail said, bless up to you too, Courtney. I hope you're doing well. Mikhail says that guys, a guy Tuchel and Marina know what they're doing. They will have all business finished before preseason. Happy dreams. Yeah, I get it. Not my money, but I will banish Lukaku. He can sit at home for next 4 years for all you care. Again, it's not that simple, but I get where you're coming from. Chip Slime says, are you guys worried about the Kounde? He just snubbed the Chelsea for back. No, that's nonsense. I don't think that's the truth. I don't know. There's a chance this is the truth because it's everywhere. I know, DJ, you were the one that shared that tweet yesterday. It turns out it's everywhere already, and the Chelsea community have started talking about it now.
Yes. I mean,
can you address that first, even before we?
I mean, listen. I mean, I think yesterday, we all we all laughed on it on the panel yesterday, thinking this is absolutely nonsense, nonsense.
Because it sounded ridiculous.
It sounded ridiculous, and then all of a sudden today, I'm coming home and I'm getting updates when I'm at work from people telling me, "Oh, we might not be getting Kounde anymore." I said, "What?" I go, "Yeah. I mean, this move that Barcelona are making on him seems for real." And I thought, okay. But then I'm asking the question, how are Barcelona affording this guy's, how are they affording to buy him?
Yeah.
Because they've got no money, first of all. They're finding it very hard to register players. I know people say obviously the registration date is under the 1st of July, but they seem to be finding it very hard to even get players. They're going for all free transfers. So I'm thinking, where's this money coming in for Kounde? Now, the only money I know they've got is they're trying to put all this money on Lewandowski, but they still have to be careful on that, because even though they're going to get Lewandowski with the money they've got, they still have to pay him a hefty lot of wages. Even though he's 33 years old, he's still going to come with a big contract, and so they've got to really tread carefully. So I'm thinking to myself, where are they really getting all this money from? So I still think Kounde is Chelsea bound. I know a lot of people are going around saying it's Barcelona. But I've not really had anyone. I don't think there's anyone really tier one that's actually come out and said that he's definitely going to Barcelona. I know there was a few out there going, but not really ones that I know of. I think DiMaggio are saying as well. Apparently, DiMaggio came out and they reboot their retweet because they apparently said that Barcelona are going to find it very hard to cough up the money for him. He's still Chelsea bound. So, so again, even though he might have grown negotiations and everything with Barcelona to get this deal over the line, and the money they're probably that Sevilla are asking for him, I just find it very strange that they can actually afford him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is strange indeed. Where they won, virtually, that is, they won nearly all the players, the whole world. Where's the money coming from? Helgi, your thoughts?
I think that it's another kind of scaremongering, but from Spanish sources. And personally speaking, I have 9 years actually, that don't really consider what Spanish sources say, since the days that we were targeting Falcao from Atletico, and they were saying that it's either his next move would be either at us or Real Madrid, and he ended up at Monaco. So it's a general, it's a general way of how Spanish media report. They try to let's say prioritize flamboyance of the news rather than the legitimacy of it. I'm speaking in general because specifically about Kounde, we don't know much, and as you said, it's something that has recently broken, this kind of news regarding Barcelona possibly intervening. But yeah, at the point that you can't really see them getting the funds, Sevilla want a considerable amount of money, so 65 million pounds, as it has been reported, while they struggle to even register new contracts for the players that they already had. In Sergio Roberto, I think they had finally managed to register him, but only a week ago, Fabrizio Romano reported that they were struggling even to renew the contract with somebody they already have in their books, and let alone signing somebody from another club which costs more than 60 million of pounds. Plus, on top of that, there are also gentlemen agreements that happen between players and clubs, and which in the Kounde's case can end up being decisive due to his persistence of joining us, of even refusing a host of other clubs in order to wait for us. And now it would be totally illogical to say that he waited for us a year. He got angry when the move didn't materialize after we sold Zuma to West Ham, and then now when we have the path and the opportunity to sign him, now he can to say that, listen, I have changed my mind and I'm going there. So it's from a common sense perspective, it seems so strange, and also from the experience that we have with the sources that have reported the news from Barcelona, I think that it's dismissive at this point.
Okay, again, Louisa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Your thoughts on this report on the screen, and just give me a second. Let me try catch up with the chat before it grows too big. I know there are not too many people there, but it can actually become larger than I won't be able to catch up. Tribune says Rudiger stay contracted until June 30th. So yes, we paid his salary. Or does DJ think Madrid are paying for June? Yeah, I think it makes sense now. These are your thoughts.
Yep. No. As I said, I mean, like I said earlier on, you
referenced what he said, yeah.
Yeah, I don't obviously claim to know everything on here when I come and chat. So if people think I've misquoted things or anything like that, I don't. That's why I said earlier on about that situation on the salary situation of we're paying, because I was not sure. But obviously now obviously True Blues obviously said that to me. It's not like I was trying to like say I didn't know. I wasn't even thinking Real Madrid were paying his wages. No, because I know he was still contracted to us. But as I said, it was just something. As I said, I wasn't sure at the time. But at least True Blues now told me, and thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much again. He always educates us there. To be honest, I'm not surprised if Barca take him, because anyone's seen to want all the players that are heavily linked with Chelsea, and we are too slow. Again, I wouldn't say we're too slow, Courtney. I know you were part of the when the cell conundrum was still going on. You were part of the multiple shows we did talking about how we were restricted, or the restrictions we had that stopped us from putting pen to paper with players or clubs. So it was just 2 weeks ago that we're allowed to start talking with players. So I think they're doing something. And if you don't trust me, I think I'd advise you to go back and read Petr Cech's comments regarding how he said he lives on the phone. But it's going to be a busy summer for us. I think I'd calm down. I think everything will be fine. Again, says this is responding to Ayuba, made 40 million profits. Again, says good morning. Again, it is evening this time, but it's not blue morning right now. But nice to see you, and thank you very much for saying that. Sutran, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Chips Line said, what exactly are we doing? We keep monitoring and showing interest in players, yet Liverpool finished off the Darwin Núñez deal within 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, I'm getting exhausted by the impression of Chip, I know you love your club. I know we all love Chelsea Football Club. But the truth, again, we just have to be patient. Nothing is too late now. If it gets to August, going into September, and nothing is done, then that's when you start being concerned. But believe me, we're fine. Okay. Again, don't be surprised. A few days now, you hear and we've completed the signing of Declan Rice from West Ham United. So just calm down. Like I said, everything will be fine. Can Chelsea take a look at Skamaka from Sassuolo? I think it was Bobby. Yes, Usadame Monaco, thank you for that comment. I think it was Bobby that talked about him, the Skamaka. Is he that good? Anybody on the panel know him well?
I know he has scored, I think, against Milan away this season, but I don't know much in particular. Has a good right foot as far as I'm concerned, but it's a bit of a risk getting players from Italian league. I have post-traumatic stress drama from Lukaku, so I don't know anyone else.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for that. Says okay, I've read that already. Says thanks for reminding me, including Rudiger, Madrid bound on the Chelsea payroll. Yep, exactly. But I think they will not be able to register him until the 1st of next month, I think. So we should just slap 100 million down for players. Says Liverpool got Nunes because of paying 100 million to blow United out of water. And I think again, I wish the kid a good luck. It's looking like a panic buy for me, but because they'd be losing potentially Mane and what's his name, Salah, the same window. Louisa, coming to you, your thoughts, what we were talking about, or you have anything else to add? But to regarding the rumors that Barca want Kounde, and some people are thinking he's chosen, are actually arguing that he's chosen Barca over us. Are you there, Louisa?
Yeah, I'm here. We were here yesterday when we were lapping it off as a rumor that just came about for the likes and the retweets. But this morning and subsequently in the afternoon, it kind of looked like he gained traction. But to be honest, I feel like the Spotify deal that Barca did, they may very well could declare some more cash and decide to get some players on a loan. To get some to pay for the transfer fees for some players. But at the same time, I'm thinking we had an agreement already with Kounde. It felt like he was already willing to come as of last season before Sevilla reneged on our offer. So I feel like Kounde is Chelsea bound, but at the same time, it could be a very Chelsea thing if Kounde ends up going to Barcelona. I feel like Chelsea have that kind of luck where at the end of the day would see Spotify at the front of Kounde's jersey.
What a way to put it. I hope that doesn't happen. We're seeing some updates that some people think we'll eventually get him. This is Simon Phillip who says Chelsea are still in pole position to sign Jules Kounde. Barcelona economic issues makes the operation difficult. You want to come in, Helgi?
But Chelsea are still so. It's more or less what we said, right? The thing is that this is the most logical way of evaluating the situation regarding him. And personally, as I said, I see Kounde coming, but always in transfer deals you have that sense of it's not done until it's done feeling, and I hope that it will be concluded soon. Maybe we have. I'm trying to find reasons why we didn't, let's say, wrap it up as soon as possible because of the dynamic of the deal that has been, let's say, happening for a year now. But the thing is that the club may have been totally aware of the injury that he has had, and for which he got operated. He had the surgery. So now it's the time, I think, that he the deal should be concluded. Maybe, and I hope that this kind of reports furtherly, let's say, accelerate the process of finding an agreement with Sevilla and clearing any kind of worry of the fans. But logically speaking, I'm relatively calm because of the fact that of reasons that we know, Barcelona's economical stance is, as in the tweet that you showed, is something not to ignore. So I realistically expect that Kounde will play for us next season.
Yeah, Louisa, how about you?
I feel like what's going to happen is because
No, that's my question.
said,
I wanted to ask you specifically. Do you think it still come to us? Because you sound concerned, but after listening to Helgi, what do you?
I feel like
Are you there, Louisa?
because of yes, I'm here. I feel like because of Barca's situation, 70% certain, because anything could still happen. Just like Helgi said about it's never really done till it's done. Something could always happen last minute, but I'm more certain. I'm more sure of Chelsea signing Kounde than Barcelona's magically finding 60 million in Camp Nou to sign Kounde.
Yeah, I think they get in. If they're sure they're getting Cesar because I don't think they'd be worried about getting him. Maybe they somehow gets money, but we never know. It says Monaco says that Koulibaly is a must for us to make a serious statement at the back. Please, no more big money. Again, we'll see what happens. It says Kounde is injured. Yep. Can we go for another alternative? No, I think he'll be fine. It's a minor injury, I've learned. It's not something that will keep him out long term. He's undergone surgery and it went well. And again, he'll be back just in a few weeks. DJ, I don't know if I've asked you, whether you still think whether you think it's still come to us.
Yeah, I'm still positive that he will come to Chelsea. To be honest with you, but again, but with Barcelona's financial situation, I know they've done a couple of deals here and there to bring some extra cash coming in, but whether that would be enough to bring him there, because as I said, I think from what I understand and what I've been heard is that they're trying to go all out for Lewandowski. So that alone, with the money they're going to pay on him, and then plus the wages for him, are they going to be able to also bring Kounde in as well? So let's see. I mean, I for one think he'll come to Chelsea, but I can understand why Chelsea fans are worried, because it was some fans are worried because this time, I think it was this time last year, when everyone thought a deal was in place for him to come. It all fell through. So we've got to hope this time round that we won't continue being Monitor FC, and we will and the deal will actually happen, rather than monitoring the situation. Just get the deal done, and I'm confident it'll get done. It might just take a bit of time. That's all.
Yeah. While I'm with you, I want to start with you on this one. We have to switch back to Romelu Lukaku because that deal is starting to sound. I don't know how true that is. It's tied to us getting Denzel Dumfries, who is a good player, and I think will provide good competition. He plays on the right hand side, right?
Definitely, yeah, he does. Right, he can play as a right wing back or right back.
Okay, yeah, so he can provide very good competition for Reece James. If we had them both this past season, I don't think we would have the issues we had when Reece James got injured. So I don't know. What I've thought, and I can't wrap my head around it, is how are they going to structure the deal? We still owe them 70 million. They want Romelu Lukaku, and they're gonna pay us 5 million for the loan, or 10 million. Because I heard before Chelsea say, okay, they will accept 10. Now, how are they going to structure the deal to accommodate the fact that we won? Because people are calling it exchange.
Yes.
That's what I don't understand. But again, overall, if you feel like talking about if he will be a good addition to our team, or if you understand how they would structure that deal to accommodate us taking him. If it is really a swap deal, I don't think that's what it is. But you go ahead, DJ.
No, I think it's more of a factor that Chelsea are trying. I think Chelsea are the ones that are saying they want this. Obviously they're going to do the loan, but they want to try and get a player to come with the deal rather than it just being on an all-out just loan. And I think this is one of the reasons why Inter Milan are trying to find a way of structuring the deal as what they as how they're doing it now. So I think obviously, if Chelsea saying if Dumfries is obviously thrown in the deal, then maybe that might just help them. It might help next season for them to. I don't know. They're probably thinking they may get him cheaper, even though we don't owe them money. But they're probably thinking that that we don't have to. That they might be able to get him finally on the cheap from us rather than us owing them that money down the lines. I don't know if that could be another reason why. But in terms of Dumfries as a player, yeah, he's a terrific player. I think he can come in and do a really, really good, a really good job there. If Reece James obviously got injured, but then this guy's also starting. He's starting games regularly for Inter Milan as well. So whether he'd want to come in and think, I'm going to be a bit part player, is another thing. But I wouldn't say no to him. As I said, he's a great player, and I think he can just add a bit. He can come with experience as well, and he could just add that to our team. And I think if we end up getting Dembele as well, I think him and Dembele when they're playing together, I think they complement each other quite well on that side, on that right hand side, along like Reece James as well.
Yeah, I do agree with you. How are your thoughts?
In principle I get it, but realistically I can't see any Inter player coming here as part of the deal, because they will try to let's say get hold of their what they consider as the best players, due to the fact that their financial stance doesn't really allow them to find the best suitable replacements if they needed to get to involved either of them in the Lukaku deal. So either of Dumfries or Skriniar, the two that have been mentioned, maybe Lautaro, but this is too unrealistic. So in general, I don't think that it's something that we can discuss in detail due to the, as you said, to the complexity of the deal from a financial point of view.
It just doesn't make any measure of sense to me.
Yeah, because of the fact that we haven't fully paid what we have to pay to Inter, and as we discussed before, the 5 million euros is totally laughable as a figure to be discussing the deal of such magnitude. But it's sort of disappointing, but not surprising to see from an Italian club. It's a sort of habit for them to test the waters with very low prices in general, first and foremost, and then they maybe can have their hands tied. And another option, I think it could be them paying let's say 10 million euros, so the thing wouldn't go to the 20 million pounds as it has been reported for us to be asking from them, but with the condition that Inter pay all the wages of Lukaku rather than us paying 2/3 of his wages, which would be another, let's say, laughable demand from Inter side, because how can you pay 60% of wages of somebody that doesn't even play for you? So I see a sort of situation that can happen in terms of the structure of the deal, similar to what we did with Atletico for Morata. So maybe a 2-year loan deal with a further obligation to buy. But as you said, I also have my doubts about the figures and how the finances will be organized. But in terms of the structure, I really do see us pushing for an obligation to buy at the point in the future. And from Inter side sort of reluctance to give to us any of the players that have been mentioned.
Can you guys? All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear
it
you.
took me a while to unmute my microphone. I must say again, I hope you and I are the same. I don't just understand. I think it's way too complex that most people know. It's not going to be an easy deal to do. But that's by the way. Again, do I want Denzel at Chelsea? I think I want Denzel at Chelsea, especially if Cesar Azpilicueta will be leaving for Barca. I think he'd make a good addition to our team. Then Reece James doesn't have to start every game. And when Denzel is on the pitch, you'd still be sure we got a good player on the pitch. And so the issue wouldn't be because James isn't playing with loose game. So I see, Ike Icy says, I'm sorry, guys. Ike Icy says, I think that if this Lukaku deal is done, Chelsea can continue their pursuit with attacking targets. That's just the truth. Again, he makes a space because he needs to leave before we go for another attacker. But that leads to the next question I'm going to ask us here on the panel. I support the pursuit of the Leeds and Koulibaly, and I hope the rumors we're hearing that the club pursuit of the Leeds is serious, and they're willing in the race to secure his signature. These Italian sides always went on to have their way with deals from EPL clubs, but yet do cheaper deals among themselves. Yep, that's just the truth. Rice is always Rice is all we can hope for now. If you're talking about the midfield section area, if Chelsea don't get Kounde, we need to stop messing around. Go all in for Koulibaly and delete. And here says we should agree to paying. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I hate calling players' name. And with that, I want to ask you, please, if you haven't, we have 59 people and we have just 45 likes. If you haven't, please do take a second to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. So, DJ, coming back to you quickly. Now, if we're losing Lukaku, what sort of replacement should we be looking for? And if you have anybody in mind, can you say, let me see if I'd agree with you.
Well, it depends on what Thomas Tuchel wants. Now, I know there's some Chelsea fans out there saying we don't need a number 9. People are saying we can just use our wingers and make a false nine we're doing like we're doing currently with a false nine that we're doing with Kai Havertz. Now, for me, I think for me personally, it'd be always good to always have a number 9 in the team, because you just never know when you can change up and change. In case Thomas Tuchel wants to change his game, it's always good to have someone out there. Now, the options of bringing another striker in are very limited now to what we can get. I mean, obviously, Lautaro Martinez would have been my favourite, but I know it's not going to happen. I'd have loved him to have come to Chelsea. The only other 2 options I can think of that are coming to mind to me will probably be Jonathan David from Lille, who's been mentioned as well in this window, and Isak is another one who could be mentioned as well. But whether they are the kind of players that Thomas Tuchel thinks can come and do a job for him is another thing. Or people can always say we've got Brozier, but Brozier cannot. There's no way Brozier can start the whole season as that own number 9 if he was to come back to us. So yeah, we would need to bring another striker in if Lukaku was to go. So yeah, I mean they're the only 2 options I can think of. The other one that can come to mind is I do believe it's Enakita. Enakita, is that his name? But I do believe Enakita. He's going to. I do believe he's going to Newcastle, though. From what I understand, he would have been another good option, French striker. But yeah, I mean, as I said, we're limited in that option was striker wise. So yeah, I mean, they're the only 2 that can come to mind for me.
I think the player that stands out from the least you just players you just listed is Jonathan David. He's a hybrid striker. Again, like we've argued maybe before, but because you weren't here then, it'd be a big mistake to go get Thomas Tuchel another striker again. And honestly, if you follow his career, I don't think it makes sense to go waste money, especially if we're talking about anything north of 50 million signing another striker. So the best option may well be to try to convince Broja to stay with the team and develop and get to understand, probably become a hybrid striker, and then also be able to play, fulfill the traditional number 9 role. But I get your argument. Options are limited at this point. But to me, the standout name is Jonathan David. If we cannot get Nkunku, who we're hearing is on the verge of signing a new deal, at Leipzig. But that's, by the way. Before I go to Lisa, Helgi, I want to come to you. Your thoughts? Do you have any striker in mind? Because if Lukaku is leaving, definitely the club will be looking for a replacement.
I'd be happy if we brought Gabriel Jesus here, for the reason that he is mobile. He may not be the most marquee kind of signing that people may have emotionally prepared themselves to see as a kind of suitable replacement for Lukaku, even in this regard, in terms of the media noise that it would make. But who cares for that at this point? We need footballing-wise decisions, and Gabriel Jesus, I think, can provide a sort of out-and-out profile that Thomas needs. He has been often criticized by people that scores, let's say, goals in a linear way, so there is no variety of the way he puts the ball in the net. You see a lot of tap-ins and maybe a lot of headers that usually come from blindsiding the opposition defenses or finding himself in a very good position to beat the offside traps. But actually, this is a kind of art in itself, and the fact that he does it very frequently is too intriguing, and can be a very good option as a fox in the box to exploit risks, crosses, or even Chilwell's and Ziyech may also can provide some sharp crosses with his left for him. So I would like him to come here, and I see it as a suitable, let's say, addition in our tech. I'm not so fond of this discussion of us trying to say that we need a sort of 1-for-1 replacement for Lukaku, because this is something that doesn't really work. I think we need one or two attacking players that can compensate the void left by the strikers of the past in terms of finishing chances, rather than us struggling to find somebody who would replace Lukaku, because Lukaku isn't somebody that has been contributing and suddenly is now leaving like Eden Hazard did, and now we try to fill the void he left. So it's not about finding a one-to-one replacement for him, but it's about adding the right profiles as a lesson to what we had with Lukaku, the bad experience that we had by signing for a mega million deal, a striker that didn't fit Tuchel's system. So my point is that we need I would be happy with Gabriel Jesus. Also, the price has been, I think, something more than £40 million, which is good enough in the modern football. And also maybe something else, and considering the way the club has operated over the years, you can't really predict names at this stage, because we end up also with signings that pop up as names later, maybe in mid-July or even in the beginning of August. So I wouldn't rush to give names prematurely, but I would like us to sign 2 or 3 new attacking players, one of which could be Gabriel Jesus. And also regarding Dembele, because he is also an attacking profile, and we aren't talking about strikers anymore as a number 9s due to the reasons you have mentioned. But there are some kind of doubts and positives that I have regarding him. If Tuchel can bring him to his best, then we can create a sort of chemical attack in terms of Gabriel Jesus trying to finish chances and Dembele being somebody who will supply. as he had a sort of blossoming period at Barcelona, recording double figures in assists only in the second half of the season. So hopefully we do just that. We try to create an attack similar to Liverpool's one in terms of profiles, something different from the reliance or over-reliance on the number 9, and adding the profiles that are versatile and can provide fluidity in the last 20 meters, and also can work their socks off of the ball and can put chances away. That's the most important thing. And as it stands, Gabriel Jesus is the only profile I have in mind. Finally, about Jonathan David, as you said, I haven't watched him much, but the issue that I have with him is that Lille this season have been playing a lot in a 4-4-2, and he seems a kind of profile that loves to play alongside someone else in a pivot in attack, which could be damaging for us and open the same kind of problems that we had with Lukaku when it comes to adapting a player that has been used to playing a counter-attacking style of football in a system that requires a lot of work of the ball from the most advanced guys on the pitch. So that's my only doubt about him, and this is my take on the matter of the attackers.
I had to mute myself so I don't get the feedback I'm getting from your end. But again, great input. But before I go to Louisa, I hope you don't mind me catching up with the chat. I see says a striker we need to have to be a technical player. That's the most important thing. You have to be technical. You have to be good on the ball. You have to be able to press. You have to be mobile. You don't have to, again, all those things that you could say are the qualities or that define an ideal Thomas Tuchel striker. In my opinion, Nunez isn't technically gifted. This is why Lewandowski deal is critical. I have my argument on the Lewandowski drill. What about playing 4-4-2 with Havertz and Broja playing the strikers? Good luck to you, and I think you get a response soon. It says a low-profile striker. Maybe if we don't spend too much on one, even if we start having issue with that one, then that's fine. What about playing again, I've read that one also. Here says if Kounde goes to Barca, then Alonso and Aspi best of fine clubs other than Barca. Can you tell me why you're talking about? Because he'd be on a serious wage that they'd not be able to accommodate the other guys. I think that's what you're saying. Cheap, good luck again regarding the system thing, because Tuchel isn't changing. Yep, it'd be difficult to see him change. Let's see what happens come next season. It will be 3-4-2-1 mainly. Again, if Richarlson not a good option, he is a fighter and he always knows the EPL. He also, again, here's the thing about Richarlison. He already knows the EPL, so to speak. He fights. You did put that right. But I wouldn't say he's good enough. I would not say he's good enough for Chelsea Football Club, and I'm serious about that. But we'll see what happens. If we get him, I will support him. I say that's a good option of switching the formation. Not yet. It depends. If we buy something like De Ligt, you can say, okay, we'll go to back four. He's fine. Wherever you slot, you put him, you deploy him. He'd be able to fulfill the role perfectly. Again, says, okay, let's see. Again, Helgi, let me see what he says about Helgi. Helgi, Mane and Salah allowed to play wide. Neither Liverpool or City play wing backs. That's the truth. Agreed, Chip Richardson. Again, anything else to read here? Says the reason why Chelsea play the system is due to the players we have. I disagree. Reece James was traditionally a right back. What's his name? Chilwell, traditionally a left back. Until he came to Chelsea, you could argue that. And we have lots of wingers who could help us implement a four-at-the-back system and play wingers. I don't want to start giving you an example, but I hope you understand what I mean. Diego was to I wouldn't categorize Diego as arrogant. I think that's just him. He fights. I don't think it's arrogance because he went along with all his teammates. No, I'm saying we owe Barca nothing if they still couldn't. Oh, okay, now I get it. Thank you very much for that. So coming back to the panel, Lucy, your thoughts before we round off.
Yeah, when it comes to the deal about whether we get Gabriel Jesus, the whoever Barca gets, and what that means for Aspi and Alonso, or even the formation changes, I feel like at the end of the day, Thomas is a smart man. It's a good coach. I rate him as a good coach. He's really going to work with whatever he's got. And now that Todd has come in, I feel like Roman adds the club as like his project. So he felt more involved in it. He felt more involved in it compared to what Todd wants. I think Todd is going to give Thomas like a more active role in whatever goes on the pitch and the dressing room. So I feel confident that Thomas is going to get the players because at the end of the day, it's still going to be what the transfer market decides. He's going to get some good players he wants, and he's going to have to make the formation that he wants to. He's going to have to make the formation that he knows will work best for the players, because he needs to win trophies at the end of the day. So it's going to have to utilize the players we've got. So that may mean changing the formation. That may mean bringing in personnel that will work for the formation he's already had in mind. So, and the striker problem is, I feel like we're just going to keep repeating ourselves till we actually see someone who can do what Thomas wants in a striker. So for now, I'm really hoping that we have our attack sorted out ahead of next season.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. Great response to that. DJ, on a final note, do you have any update for us?
Nothing new. People were talking about midfielders earlier on and what midfielder we could bring in. I don't know what Chelsea fans think. This player's been around for quite some time, and I know he's been linked with Arsenal for many, many years, but they don't seem to be pulling it off every time. If we can't end up getting the players, I want what Chelsea fans think of Ousmane Dembele as a player to come in that midfield. He's still only 23 years old. He's not a bad player either. Ousmane Dembele. He plays for Olympique Lyon. He's only like 23 years old. Yeah, he's 23. He's been linked. He seems to be every time he seems to be getting a move to the Premiership, he never seems to get that move. But he's been linked with Arsenal for many years. He's not a bad talent as well in midfield. At 23, I think the only thing with him is I do believe he's had injuries, but not as frequent as probably as a Dembele. But he's not a bad player either. Not a bad shout. I don't know what Chelsea fans think of that. I don't know.
Helgi, do you have any update for us?
No, nothing new. Just hoping that this Lukaku deal will be solved as soon as possible, because Fabrizio Romano said that more talks will continue regarding the loan fee, and we are expected to tell Inter, to inform them about a sort of concrete figure that we want from them. But that's all. And I haven't checked the Twitter honestly since the start of the show. So if something has happened meanwhile, please tell me here.
Not that I know of. How about you, Louisa? Do you have any updates for us before we round off?
Oh, no update for now, apart from the youth goalkeepers that we already seem to be ahead of signing right now.
All right. Thank you very much. I sincerely do appreciate that. With that, we've come to the end of the show. And if you're watching, again, if you haven't liked the video, like it. We gained a few subscribers this evening. Right now, we're at 2,904 subscribers. There's 96 more to get to 3,000 subscribers. And thank you. I says, I trust in TT, good vibes. Serge Milenko Savic is not bad. Again, I don't know him that well. And I want to say thank you to everybody on the panel And please, I urge you to go check out their Twitter accounts and follow them. We have, sorry, looks like I'm frozen again. We have Luisa Soldaro, underscore Soldaro, and also we have Helgi, we have DJ Sab. Make sure to go follow them all. And again, thank you for all the support. I cannot thank you enough for the growth that the success that the channel have achieved so far. And to me, believe me, I know it's only the beginning because we're growing together. And I want to say thank you very much to Monaco. Thank you to Triblu for always finding time to join. Thank you to Phantom of Many Topics for all the support and also being part of the chat. And thank you to Ike Lexi. Thank you to Mikhail. All of you, I sincerely do appreciate you all. And if I miss your name, my apologies. I am only a human. Again, my screen is really, really giving me issue, and I don't know what device to take off here to be able to operate seamlessly. It's really annoying. I can't get to how I'm going to edit the show. 1 second, please. Just give me a few minutes. And I think I've read all the comments there. So again, if you're hearing my voice still, I urge you to please to go subscribe to that. Like the video, share it, tell more people about the channel, and do subscribe if you haven't. Can you guys on the panel? Can you guys hear my voice?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can.
Okay, I'm just frozen. I can't even get to where I can end the video. There you go. I think I should be able to end the video right now. Again, thank you very much, everybody. See you guys tomorrow for the Blue Money Show. And DJ, thank you for finding time to join. I know it must have been a long day for you, but thank you. Cheers, everyone.
No worries. Up the cheers.